Today we're going to talk about why genetics are the most important variable in cultivation. More important than light, more important than nutrients, environment, and why your next breakthrough isn't from a bottle, it's from a seed. If reality is software, then genetics is the source code. Let's think of your room as a simulation. The room, it's the operating system. The environmental controls, those are the settings. Your nutrient line, that's the plugin. But the plant's DNA, that's the source code that decides what's even possible. If the code is written for a weak, unstable, disease-prone plant, you can't feed it into becoming a heavy-yielding, top-shelf monster. At best, you'll get the best possible version of something fundamentally limited. Genetics determine maximum yield potential, cannabinoid and terpene ceilings, resistance or sensitivity to stress, pests, and pathogens, how forgiving or finicky a plant is in less than perfect conditions, and everything else that you do is just how close you get to the genetic ceiling. The illusion of fixing problems with inputs. Growers are trained to blame the nutrient line, the PPFD map, the environmental controller, the feeding schedule. So the pattern becomes plants look unhappy, buy a new product, tweak the recipe, and hope magically it'll unlock something. But here's the truth. You can't feed a plant into having better structure. You can't light a plant into having more complex terp profiles than its DNA allows. You can't environment hack your way past unstable, poorly selected genetic lines. Inputs can only express what's already written in the code. If the code is shaky, your entire grow is built on a bug. What good genetics actually means. Fire genetics is more than just a hype label or a pretty bud shots. High-level genetics should give you consistent structure, predictable stretch, repeatable internode spacing, reliable bud set in the same conditions run after run, chemotype with intention, clear expected cannabinoid range, terpene profiles that match the description, not lottery tickets. Plants that actually smell and smoke like what you hunted for. Vigor and resilience, strong root growth, fast recovery from minor stress, less prone to herms and random intersex expression under normal conditions. Scalability, if a cut crushes it in a 2x4 but collapses in a room with 50 lights, that's a problem. Good genetics should be scalable from a test tent to a full facility. When you start with genetics like that, every watt, every gram of nutrient, every degree of temperature actually means something. You're no longer trying to resuscitate bad code, you're optimizing good code. How genetics outrank light, nutrients, and environment. Let's stack the variables. Light defines how much energy is available. Nutrients define the raw materials. Environment defines how comfortable the process is. And genetics define what the plant is capable of doing of all that. You can put a low potential plant under perfect conditions and get a clean, mediocre result. Or you can put a high potential plant under decent, not perfect conditions and still get something impressive. That's why you can see a dialed grower with mid-tier genetics get smoked by somebody with elite genetics and just good enough room control. The ceiling is just higher. Genetics set the upper limit. Everything else is just how close we get to that limit. How to think like a geneticist and not just a grower. If you want to level up, stop thinking only in terms of how do I feed this and start thinking, what did I actually buy? Good questions to ask. What was the breeder selecting for? Yield, terps, structure, speed? Is this line stress test, or did they just find something pretty and rush it to market? Does this cultivar have a track record, or is it just trendy name stapled onto unstable work? Are you building a collection, or building a library of actual tools, cultivars that each solve a specific job. Your garden is not just a room full of plants, it's a code base. Each cultivar is a different build. Each seed pack is a new patch for your reality. Choose better code and your problems become optimizations, not emergencies. Why does simulation genetics exist? Well, simulation genetics is built on one simple belief. If reality is glitchy, we don't yell at the screen, you patch the code. Our work starts at a genetic level, pheno hunting for structure, yield, and smoke, not just bag appeal. Stress testing lines so they don't fold under real world conditions. Treating every seed pack like a software patch designed to upgrade your grow and not clutter it. You don't need another bottle to chase 2% improvement. You need a better code base to unlock different tiers of reality in your grow. Are you ready to stop fixing bad code with good nutrients? Meet the next generation of genetics at VakashiSeedVault.com. Load up the first patch and use the code UPLINK to get 50% off your first pack of simulation genetics.